Welcome back to the Finding Sunshine podcast. I'm your host, Kels, and this week we are kicking off a new devotional series that I'm calling Identi-Tea, T-E-A, where with a cup of tea and a hungry heart, we break down the lies we've believed for too long and replace them with God's truth. It's all about standing firm in who God says we are. Whether you're strong in your faith, questioning everything, or somewhere in between, you are welcome here. So grab your tea and let me introduce you to our Identi-Tea devotional series. Hi friends, I'm back after a month break and I am so excited. I promise there are more stories and guests to come, but this series came about in a pretty cool way. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. It's just you and I today. And let me just say that truly only God can get the glory through all of this. I mean, the podcast and everything in my life, because it's not coming from me. As crazy as that sounds, it's not. So about a month ago, I was feeling exhausted and I went to export this one episode that, mind you, I worked very hard on, and I did pray about whether or not I should release it, and maybe one day I can explain it a little bit further, but for now, I went to export this episode, and no joke, I tried like 5 times, and it would not export, and it always exports on the first try. So I oddly felt peace about it, and I felt to take a month break to kind of reset and think more on the vision and just focus on God, truly. So in this month, God moved in pretty amazing ways. Even as I prepared this episode, I received more revelation on the puzzle pieces and how everything came together. And that there were lies that I was believing, right, that had to go before we could move forward. So in this series, we'll dive into a whole bunch of lies, not just the ones that I experienced. So if we don't get to a lie that you would like to dig into, please reach out to me and we can dig in together, and I will make sure to do a devotional dedicated to it. I mean, I plan to do this series for a long time, so we will get there. I promise. Anyway, God was cleansing me and purifying my heart before moving forward and revealing those lies that I had been believing. It was a very intentional month that I am super grateful for. And because my focus was there, I kept asking God to do the work and help me with the podcast because I wasn't sure how to find time, and I honestly just wanted to focus on getting closer to Him and debunking these lies. So the podcast was on the back burner, which is why I have been MIA. But God, He always pulls through when our eyes are fixed on Him and diligently seeking Him. So it was really cool. Through conversations with friends, He started bringing ideas to me. I mean, left and right, and shaping the podcast. I wasn't even doing the work. And I wasn't even the one who brought up the podcast in conversations. It was always the other person. And each time was so fruitful and really cool to see how God was speaking to me and doing the work through my friends. It was great. And I was able to confirm everything through prayer and how it happened as well. Which, side note, we do want to make sure we're protecting the vision and not relying on other people to shape something that God has given you specifically, because they won't know what it's supposed to be. Only God does. And so too many opinions can sometimes not be good, and choosing carefully who you let in on some of the vision through prayer is honestly smart, because at some point you will need others to fulfill a vision that God gives you, because it'll be too big and too much for one person to do on their own. And we are meant to work with each other. But anyway, He gave my friend Kaylin, who you guys met, a vision and a slight shift in direction for me. And that is how we ended up here doing these devotionals. I mean, not once before this did the thought cross my mind to do this. However, I must say it does align pretty well. What gave me confirmation, and it wasn't even confirmation really, I just started doing it. And what made me start to decide to take action was when I was focusing on God. I know it sounds redundant, but usually it takes us hearing something multiple times to receive revelation. And also, truly, I'm just speaking the truth and how everything has been unfolding in my life personally. And focusing on God has truly been the start of everything that has been happening in these stories that I've been sharing with you. So I was reading a chapter in the book we're going through in one of my small groups, and there was a reflection question, and it had me digging into a lie that I've always believed. And then through my digging, it just kind of fell into place to create this series. I also received so much confirmation after I started creating the series. Like, people would bring up identity constantly in conversations and in sermons and everything I was listening to. That was like the key theme and word that just kept coming up, and it was so confirming for what I was doing. If you're struggling with something, there is a lie behind it that you're believing. I'm going to link the book that we're reading in the description because it has been so insightful when it comes to emotions and our beliefs. And I did not realize how often the enemy will put lies into our head that we start believing, and sometimes we let that be a part of our identity, and that will always hold us back. Silly example, because it's me. My mom has this belief, okay, that she cannot cut a cake. Stick with me, it will make sense, I promise. So, and I'm talking about like a physical, like a birthday cake, any kind of cake, right? And most likely that fear came from pressure when she was a kid, and let's say maybe an adult made fun of her for not doing it perfectly. Okay. And so ever since then, she developed this fear that when it comes to cutting the cake, someone else has to do it, and it can't be her because she'll mess it up. It's so silly, you guys, but it's so real. And I wanted to use this light example because it shows how one lie can turn into this belief and become a part of someone's identity, which feels extreme, but hear me out. Everyone knows that my mom freaks out when it comes to cutting the cake, but that is not the ultimate issue. That is the symptom of the core lie that she is believing. The lie that she's believing is that she will always fail, that she's not capable of stepping up and leading, and always thinks that someone else is better for the job. They'll succeed, but not her, right? If not uprooted, this belief can trickle into other areas of her life and start to become her identity, where she thinks that she is a failure, always believing that she cannot succeed and will fail, and so someone else should do it, not her. It's so small, but it's so real. So let me ask you, what lie are you believing about yourself? In this series, we are going to combat these lies that we have been believing for far too long, friends, and unlearn them using God's truth. I am so excited because I was already on this journey myself, and it's been very healing. So I'm excited to bring you along for the journey and for us to learn together and to start seeing ourselves for who we have always been and taking off those false goggles that are getting in the way. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but guess what, fam? It's time to fight back and refuse to listen to anything but the truth. Can I get an amen? But truly, I am so sick of seeing people I care about bound by lies, and am ready to combat the first one in the next devotional. Okay? That is the tea, fam, and that is all for today. I just wanted to open this up and share where we're heading with this series. So thanks again for listening. I'm so glad you're here, and talk to you soon. Have the best day. Sunshine.